Hey guys, Mark here. I hope you are well. In today's video, I'm going to be demonstrating the square knot paracord bottle wrap. Now this one is a rare sight in the paracord community, but it is a common project in macrame crafts or nautical knot work. As such, I think that the paracord crafts can also benefit from this style of a wrap. The main technique used for this project is the square knot, also known as the cobra knot. As such, many are already familiar with the technique. With this said, let's take a look at the wrap, then make our own. Here you can see an example of a square knot bottle wrap. As you can see, it is made by stacking up row after row of square knots. At the top, I added a cord lock onto the neck cord so that I am able to loosen it up and to remove the wrap. I also attached a lanyard knot in order to prevent the cord lock from slipping off, as well as making the wrap a bit more decorative. At the bottom, I finished up using a flat bottom technique. There are many available, this is just one that I used. And here is another look at the wrap without the bottle so that it may be a bit easier to see the pattern. The first thing that you're going to need for this project is a bottle to wrap. I'm going to be using a glass container which you get when you buy the Voss bottled water. This one holds about 13 fluid ounces, it has a consistent width through the entire bottle, and is fairly affordable. You can find these in many stores as well as online. Now you can choose to use any other bottle. This is one that I like to use because of the factors that I mentioned. The next supply that you're going to need is going to be a single piece of paracord about 1.5 to 2 feet long. This one is going to be placed around the neck of the bottle, and we're going to attach all of our other cords onto this cord. Optionally, a cord stop or cord lock can be used, and this one makes removing the bottle wrap a lot easier. Basically, you just pull on it to loosen up the neck cord, and then you can remove the wrap off of the bottle. This is handy if you need to clean up the wrap at some point. The next supply is going to be cordage for the wrap itself. Now I'm going to be using 6 strands, each 8 feet long. You can use more strands or less. The more strands that you use, the thicker the wrap pattern is going to be. So do decide on how many strands you're going to be using, depending on the thickness of the pattern that you want. Finally, you're going to need something to cut the cords with, as well as a lighter to melt the ends. With these supplies ready, let's begin. The first thing that we need to do when tying our wrap is to add a neck cord around the neck of the bottle. This piece of paracord is going to serve as the base onto which we're going to attach all further cords. I'm going to take a piece of paracord about 2 feet long. For a permanent wrap, I'm going to simply secure the 2 ends using a reef knot. In this case, I'm going to take the left end, place it over the bottle, take the right end, place it over the left end, then using the right end, I'm going to pass under the left end and up. Then, using the left end, I'm going to pass over the right end, then under and up, then tighten up. And what I get is a reef knot. Now this knot is a nice looking knot, but it's not always as secure as we want it to be. So sometimes it is a good idea to reinforce it. To reinforce the reef knot, take the right strand, pass over the left strand, then under and up, and tighten up. And this is a more secure version of the reef knot. Finally, you can add a couple of stopper knots as a decorative measure. For example, a couple of overhand knots, like this, then trim the ends. This is a permanent solution for when you want a permanent wrap for your bottle. The second option for attaching the neck cord is to use a cord stop or even a bead. In this case, we feed the two ends of our cord through the cord stop, like this. Then simply attach the loop and tighten up. And this is pretty much all you need to do to attach a neck cord using a cord stop. Now, I would recommend adding a couple of stopper knots. So again, for example, an overhand knot onto each of the ends. And this is going to prevent the cord stop from sliding off of the ends. You can also add more intricate knots such as the lanyard knot, Celtic button knots, and so on. It really is a matter of preference, but this is a more adjustable way of starting your wrap. The second way of securing the cord lock is to use a lanyard knot. This is more decorative and slightly harder to do. We start with the left strand, making a loop. We pass under the loop using our right strand. Then, using the right strand, we pass over this top left strand, under the left end, then weave through these three parts, going over, under, over. So, over, under, and over, like this. Now we have a carrick band, and what we do is we expand it by taking the top right strand, going past this top left strand, coming out of the cord lock, so past it, then under and through the center of the carrick band. Then, with the bottom left strand, we pass over this top right strand, coming out of the cord lock, so past, then under and through the center of the carrick band. Then tighten up, and what you get is a lanyard knot. The next step is going to be to attach all of the other pieces of paracord around the neck of the bottle. Now for this task, you're going to need an even number of cords. So 2, 4, 6, 8, and so on. To attach each of the cords, fold them in half Then feed the folded part or bite under the neck of the bottle, like this. Then feed the 2 working ends through the bite. Then pull. After pulling through the 2 ends, tighten up, and what you're going to get is a single lark's head knot. Then proceed with the second cord. Again, fold it in half, feed it under the neck of the bottle, then feed the 2 working ends through the bite, and pull through. Tighten up, and you have the second cord attached. Each cord is going to give us 2 working strands. After attaching all of my strands onto the neck cord, so all 6, I have 12 ends to work with. I have paired up the strands, so I have a pair here, a pair here, and a pair here. The distance between the pairs is about the same. To start making our wrap, we're going to start at a pair of 2 strands, which have 4 strands coming out. We're going to tie a square knot. The 2 middle strands are going to act as the core, and the 2 outer strands are going to be the working ends. Start with the left strand, pass under the 2 middle strands, and over the right one. With the right strand, pass over the top and into the loop created on the left side. Then tighten up as close to the top as possible. So something like this. Now take the right strand, pass under the 2 middle strands, and over the left strand. Then using the left strand, pass into the loop on the right side, going over the top. Tighten up. We have now tied a square knot using these 4 strands. Move to another section of 4 strands and repeat the process. So the 2 middle strands are going to be the core. We take the left strand, pass under the 2 middle strands, and over the right strand. Then, using the right strand, we pass over the top into the loop on the left. Tighten up as close to the top as possible. Like this. Now take the right strand, pass under the 2 middle strands, and over the left strand. Then using the left strand, pass over the top into the loop on the right side. And tighten up. Then do the next set of 4 strands. The two middle strands are going to be the core. Take the left strand, pass under the two middle strands, and over the right strand. With the right strand, pass over the top into the loop on the left side. Like this. Tighten up as close to the top as possible. Then, using the right strand, pass under the two middle strands and over the left strand. Then, using the left strand, pass over the top into the loop on the right side and tighten up. Once you have done all sets of 4 strands, you should have a single row completed. We're now going to start the second row. Knots in the second row of the wrap are going to be again made using the square knot. We're going to place them in between the knots of the first row. To do this, take 2 strands from a knot on the left side and 2 strands from a knot on the right side. This way you get 4 strands, which you can use to tie a square knot. The 2 middle ones are going to be the core. Take the left strand, pass it under the 2 middle strands, over the right strand. Then the right strand passes over the top into the loop on the left. Like this. Take the right strand, pass under the 2 middle strands, over the left strand. The left strand passes over the top into the loop on the right side. Then slowly tighten up, making sure that the square knot is about at the middle of the 2 knots of the previous row. So you adjust it a bit, making sure that it is about at the middle point. So something like this. Now do a second knot. Rotate the bottle. So something like this. Take 2 strands out of the left square knot and 2 strands from the right square knot. The 2 middle ones are going to be the core. Take the left strand, pass it under the 2 middle strands, and over the right strand. Then the right strand passes over the top into the loop on the left, like this. Now take the right strand, pass under the 2 middle strands, over the left strand. Now the left strand passes over the top into the loop on the right side. Again, slowly tighten up at about the middle point of the square knots of the previous row. Something like this. Now do the next knot. So again, we take 2 strands from the knot on the left and 2 strands from a knot on the right side. So we have 4 strands, the 2 middle ones being the core. Take the left strand, pass under the 2 middle strands, over the right strand. Then the right strand passes over the top into the loop on the left. Like this. Now take the right strand, pass under the 2 middle strands, and over the left strand. The left strand passes over the top into the loop on the right side. Tighten up, again making sure that you place the knot in between the 2 square knots of the previous row. Like this. Now we can begin the 3rd row. And we continue the same technique all the way to the bottom of the bottle. So the 3rd row would be made by again taking 2 strands from a knot on the left, 2 strands from a knot on the right, using the 2 middle strands as the core. We pass under the 2 middle strands using the left end, and we also pass over the right strand. Then the right strand passes over the top into the loop on the left. Like this. Now the right strand passes under the 2 middle strands over the left one. The left one passes over the top into the loop on the right side. Again, you tighten up the knot at about the middle point of the previous 2 square knots. So continue this until you fill out the bottle and you reach the bottom. After you reach the bottom, lining up row after row of square knots, it is time to finish up the wrap. Here you have 2 options. You can trim all of the ends at this point, and this is going to give you a very flat bottom, which is good if you want the bottle to stand. Alternatively, you can close off the bottom and get a fully enclosed wrap. So at this point, I'm going to show you how to close off the bottom. There are a ton of ways for finishing the bottom of the wrap. This is one that I devised for this specific wrap. Take 2 strands coming out at the center of a square knot. Place them in between the next set of strands coming out at the center of a square knot. So like this. Then pick up those 2 strands. So again, these are coming out at the center of a square knot, and place them in between the 2 strands which again come out at the center of a square knot. Like this. Finally, pick up the last pair and weave it through the first pair that I used, going over under. Like this. And this establishes a small triangle at the bottom. So after establishing this triangle at the bottom, face the triangle so that you have one side, so 2 strands facing away from you. Take the other 2 strands at the top, coming out of the square knot out of the sides. We're going to use these two strands to tie a few square knots. Take the left strand, pass under all four of the strands of the triangle and over the right strand. Take the right strand, pass over the top into the loop on the left. Then tighten up. Take the right strand, again, pass under all four strands at the bottom and over the left strand. Then with the left strand, pass over the top into the loop on the right. Tighten up and repeat a few more times. So again the left strand, under four and over the right strand. Then the right strand over the top into the loop on the left side. Tighten up and maybe do one more. The right strand passes under four and over the left strand, then the left strand passes over the top into the loop on the right side. And tighten up. And with this, we have completed one set of strands. So now we can trim these two and these two, melt them, and this part is complete. Turn around so that again you have one set of strands facing away from you. Take the other two strands, so the side ones, pass the left one under four, so under the four strands of the triangle, and over the right strand. Then the right strand passes over the top into the loop on the left side. Tighten up. Then take the right strand, under four, over the left strand, and the left strand passes over the top into the loop on the right side. Tighten up and do two more knots. The left end comes under four over the right strand. The right strand passes over the top into the loop on the left side. Tighten up. Take the right strand, under four over the left strand. Left strand passes over the top into the loop on the right side. Tighten up. And we have completed another four strands. You can now cut and melt these two strands and the strands at the sides. And now for the final set. Again, we have these two strands facing away from us. Take the two remaining strands coming out of a square knot here. The left strand passes under four, like this, and over the right strand. The right strand passes over the top into the loop on the left side. Tighten up. Take the right strand, pass under four, and over the left strand. The left strand passes over the top into the loop on the right side. Tighten up. Then again, the left strand passes under 4, like this, and over the right strand. The right strand passes over the top into the loop on the left side. And finally, the right strand passes under 4, over the left strand, and the left strand passes into the loop on the right side. Tighten up, and you can trim the final set of strands. So these two and these two. And you have a nice decorative finish at the bottom. So guys, at this point we're pretty much done with the wrap. It was a pretty easy project to do, and you can further upgrade it with a different finish at the bottom. You can, for example, add a carabiner around the neck cord so that you can hang the bottle, for example, or you can do something in your own style. Thank you very much for joining me, and see you next time.